Hello and welcome to the February 11th, 2019 edition of the Gold, Goats, and Guns Short News. My name is Tom Luongo and we have a lot to talk about. Today, I want to talk about Matteo Salvini, Italy, and his war on the central bank and how that relates to, of all things, Brexit. But first, a little housekeeping. We've passed the 2,000 subscriber mark here at Gold, Goats, and Guns, which is great. I invite everybody to join the live stream tonight at 8 p.m. We do one every Monday night at 8 p.m. and every Friday night at 8:30. If you like what you hear today, please give a like and subscribe down below. We'd really appreciate it. You can follow my work over at goldgoatsandguns.com or tomluongo.me. And you can follow us on Patreon and support us there at Patreon/Gold, Goats, and Guns, where you can sign up for the Gold, Goats, and Guns investment newsletter, which ties all of this geopolitical stuff into a relatively coherent investment strategy and portfolio strategy to help you make sense of what are really chaotic times. All right, let's get on to the matter at hand today. Matteo Salvini, the leader of the League, formerly the Northern League, and Deputy Prime Minister of Italy, is a man on a mission. And he's a man, and that mission is, without a doubt, to take back control of Italian sovereignty, which has been ceded to the EU, the neoliberals, and the globalists. And he's not happy about it. And neither is his partner in crime, leader of the Five Star Movement, Luigi Di Maio. Now, currently in Salvini is under investigation for kidnapping, which I covered in a video a couple weeks ago, brought by some prosecutors in Sicilian court to try and derail him and trying to drive a wedge between this center-right, center-left coalition that's portrayed in the media as being kind of metastable or tenuous, when it's really not. They're absolutely in lockstep on what their end goal is and what their mission is. He and Di Maio both were out this weekend campaigning in northern Italy to clients of former banks that were wiped out and whom the regulators and the Bank of Italy sold off for $1 to larger banks and wiped out all of the depositors. Now, under EU banking rules and for the most part, if you don't know this, if you are a depositor in a bank, you are an unsecured creditor of the bank. The bank can take your money, and you are going to be the last person paid if the bank goes under. The bondholders have to be paid first, and then depositors, whatever's left over, depositors will get paid out. As this is long-standing within the Western banking rules. This is nothing new. It's been codified through bail-in laws that gives the central banks the ability to take control of the bank, bail in the depositors when they feel it's time to step in. Now, Di Maio and Salvini are both taking aim at the Bank of Italy for not adequately policing the behavior of the banks that failed, because apparently it was the liquidation of these banks was done in a very hinky manner. And I don't want to go into specifics of it because it's not really germane to the situation right now. What's important is that Salvini and Di Maio are both going after the Bank of Italy because at the end of all of this and what's happening across Europe and the political unrest that's happening across Europe is that these guys understand that the euro and the ECB and the structure of the European Union has been designed to destroy Italian sovereignty and to destroy the Italian lower middle classes. And the costs of all of this are borne by the lower and middle classes all across Europe, not just Italy. And he understands this. Salvini in particular understands this, and so does Di Maio. So what they proposed over the weekend, which is a thumb right in the eye of EU regulators, was full-on populism to create a 1 billion euro fund to try and make the depositors of these banks whole. Pure vote-getting scheme, pure populism. There's no argument here. It's brilliant politics. especially given the situation that we're dealing with across Europe, especially given the timing of this. Because right now, Brexit has been dominating the news. And if you've noticed, Salvini and Di Maio, for the most part, have laid low. They haven't really poked the European Union, other than to poke Emmanuel Macron in France. And again, these guys are really sticking in the eye of the leaders of the EU firsters and the globalists that think they run Europe. And Di Maio, for example, met over the weekend with the leaders of the Yellow Vest movement in France and caused quite the diplomatic row that led to Macron pulling his ambassador from Italy, which is awesome. This is exactly what needs to happen. Okay, this is exactly the kind of thing that needs to happen, especially in the same weekend that the French police go full violent and have got terrible optics now. 2 weekends in a row. First taking a man's eye, this weekend taking a man's arm. During what were non-violent protests. So this goes to show you the face of the European Union is being revealed by degrees every day. And no matter how much the press and the media try to downplay all of this and to raise the stakes of, and to raise the specter of populist violence, which is nonsense. Most of that is astroturfing. Most of that is paid agitation to make it look like there's a problem. So none of this is all normal, unfortunately, because as authoritarian regimes are pushed to their limit and pushed on the validity of their rule, they become violent. It doesn't matter what kind of government they are. It doesn't matter if they're nominally left or nominally right. At the end of the day, power is power. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you wield it with wearing a leftist frock or a right-wing coat. It doesn't matter. The skin of paint on the outside, be it blue face paint or red face paint, it's still power underneath. And that's what human beings are most sensitive to, losing power. And that's what always brings out the big guns. And so Salvini and Di Maio this weekend used the chaos of Brexit, the focus now on the European Union's weak bargaining position relative to the UK, and the way Theresa May, against all prognostications, has actually put the EU in a really ugly position. And it's great to watch. And now these guys have got impeccable political instincts, of knowing when to go for the jugular, when to poke the EU when it's going to do the most damage. Because their ultimate goal here is the European parliamentary elections in May. Salvini is dead set on trying to take control of the European Commission presidency, take it away from the Juncker set, the Juncker and Merkel and Tusk group that dominate the European Parliament today. Today in the European Parliament, the Eurosceptic parties that have blossomed over the last 5 years are vastly underrepresented relative to their current poll numbers. And remember, even their current poll numbers are going to underestimate how well they do in the European elections. We always see this. The minor parties that are not given that the minor parties always do worse in national elections and national polling than they do in the European parliamentary elections. People are much more willing to send minor parties and new parties to Europe to learn how to govern than they are to send them to their national capitals. So you will probably see parties like the League and Five Star Alternative for Germany and in Germany, National Rally, France's National Rally, led by Marine Le Pen. They're all going to do far better than their polling numbers. Not 10 or 15%, but certainly 2 to 3 to 5%, which will make all the difference in the world if it's everybody and it's across the board. We saw it with UKIP for a long time that UKIP vastly outpolled in the European parliamentary elections the last time before Brexit. And then, in the next British general election, their support collapsed back to the norm. They peaked and crested, and then they fell off again. And we'll see the same thing here. We'll probably see, for example, Alternative for Germany pulled 19, maybe even 20% out of Germany, as opposed to the 16 to 17% they're currently polling. So all very interesting. And what Salvini and company are doing, and what Salvini and Di Maio are doing, is pushing towards the European parliamentary elections with the expressed intent of trying to reform it from within at the very minimum, and to reform the budgetary rules and the way the euro is administered, to give countries more leeway in dealing with their debt, because their labor is fundamentally mispriced under the euro system, and there's no way out of it. There's no way to make it better. No amount of austerity is going to make that better. And believe me, the people that run the IMF, the people in Germany, people in Wall Street, people in the City of London, they all know this. They designed the system this way on purpose. And Salvini and Di Maio absolutely understand that it's a crime against humanity, and it needs to end. And this little campaign point over the weekend confirms that completely. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fantastic. I wish Trump was this good. I really do. But he's not. So, go Italy. Go homeland. Go the motherland. All right. This has been the Gold Guts and Guns short news for Monday, February 11th, 2019. If you like what you heard today, give a like and subscribe down below. That would be great. Remember, tonight, 8 p.m., Gold Goats and Guns live stream. It tends to be NSFW, so leave the kids at home. Other than that, you guys have a great day. We'll talk soon. Keep your stick on the ice.